everybody. So it's Saturday morning, obviously, but I was gonna wait. Sorry, a little bit of an eyebrow situation there. I was going to wait until a little bit later today to do what I learned from yesterday, but the message was continuing to happen this morning. And I think one of the things was I felt like I needed to go ahead and put it down because I need to, one, make room for what's coming today. That's just a little sidebar tip to the message from the goat which is what I was learning from today or yesterday. But we always need to clear out what we have from the day before or from another previous time in order to be in the now moment and make room for the new things to come through. So that's just an important pro tip if you're going through creating your own new reality, which is that process of healing. And really it's just part of a new way of being. Like, we have to clear out. We don't need to carry other moments, necessarily bringing other moments into the now, because they don't belong here. That's probably a really good teaching for a different day. But so yesterday, I think some of the messages that I'm getting that are coming through during this whole thing are definitely about me, because hello, it's all about me. No, but really, like, our healing journeys really all are always only about us. But I felt like there's so many messages that I could relay in a way that are helpful for everybody. So anybody that's is ready to start their healing and doesn't really know how to do that, these are just messages of things you can apply to your own process, even if you are like way down the road on your healing. Like, I am way down the road on my healing. I mean, I have been doing a significant amount of work almost daily. Not always, because I get into parts where I'm kind of plateauing out for a little bit before the next round hits. But, for a solid 10 years, I've just worked on my trauma. And I've had a lot of great moments in the middle of that. But where I've been since, say, November, December of last year was realizing that self-abuse that I started talking about yesterday. So it's like I cleared out everybody else's stuff, but now I'm really working on my behaviors and my patterns that are still adding to, God, they really love this word self-abuse, guys. I didn't think I'd be saying it like 20 times a video, but like that's what they keep pointing me back to. Because like I've been in this headspace of self-love and really been working on it for months. I was doing so much better. I've been working on boundaries. I'm still working on boundaries. I still have some people that I love and care for that are not abiding by my boundaries, that I'm still allowing them to creep through. And so I'm working on these things, right? Like, I'm putting plaster on the cracks, But, like, even understanding like why I'm in such a space of burnout, why it's really digging in and understanding my personal patterns and behaviors. It's also about not comparing myself to anybody else. I've been going through moments where I've definitely been comparing myself to other people still. So like imposter syndrome, which is probably a very familiar term to most of you. I know the people I work with are already familiar with it as a term, especially as women really struggle with imposter syndrome. And I'd worked on that in my career, finally. Like, it took me a really long time to be able to show up and be present in the room as the expert and not feel as though somebody else is going to, point a finger at me and laugh and be like, oh, you don't belong here. So I had gotten through that. However, I've leveled up into a whole new place of who I am and really welcoming that new part of me and what that means. And I'll get into that a little bit more in a second. But with that, I was hitting another new layer of imposter syndrome, in the sense of I'm not quite as qualified as this person, or I'm not as in tuned as this person, or I get it differently than this person, or I have to emulate their pattern in order for it to be manifested in my life. And that's not actually true. So let's go to the goat, and then this is all gonna make sense why I've already rambled for 5 minutes. So yesterday's animal, if you will, is, so you may go, well, how do you even get there? Well, I've been very drawn to, I have an animal oracle deck, and I've been drawn to using that the first couple days this week. And so yesterday's one that came out was this goat. And, you know, goats symbolize a lot of things, but this was specifically a mountain goat. And it's one key statement that jumped out for me was, we climb mountains, we don't carry mountains. And I thought, ooh, okay, this is definitely where I've been, because, you know, I walked in a room last December, and somebody had a strong reaction to my energy, and it was freaking me out, because I'm like, I didn't even know I was projecting it, but they were feeling almost, I think they were even getting physically sick from it. And obviously it was an empath who felt some sort of connection to me, because she was able to like really just be impacted by the energy I was bringing in the room. And what I wasn't aware of is she was feeling burden and pressure in her shoulders. She was reacting physically to what I was carrying around with me. And I had been carrying around significant amount of weight on my shoulders and that tension for probably almost 30 years. So I've lived a very interesting life, but I've endured a significant amount of stress since, I would say some of it started when I was a teenager, but in reality, the burden of carrying it started in the fall of 1991. And I've never had a peaceful moment since. I've had no peace since then. I get small measures of it, and I'm close to dropping this really lengthy cycle. In fact, probably about the time that we get to the 29th anniversary of it all, this fall, I will feel very in a much better place. But the point that I'm trying to make is I've carried a significant amount of stress, which is why my body is overreacting. Chronic stress is dis-ease in our body, creates more dis-ease, and it has shut down my hormonal system, which I've been dealing with for probably 8 or 9 years at this point, where it shut down my estrogen production, and all of that went out of balance and went out of whack. It caused my thyroid, which has already been a problem since my mid-20s. It's compounded all of that. My adrenal fatigue, like, we could talk about, okay, Jen, like all the things, like, it has just radically caused systems in my physical body to shut down, and which has led to a lot of disease. And so the common theme that kept coming back to that when I was working on my physical healing, and the statement that was always coming back is, you can fix this anytime you want, but it's about the stress. Your body can heal itself. You can help your body heal itself. We're created and designed to do that, but it won't happen until you've eliminated stress, which is what this whole 26-day break is about, is getting that trauma of stress out of my system. So carrying the burdens has been something with not just the trauma that I've endured, but the emotional weight and pain related to situations with my kids when they were little, to marriages, to just a host of things. And this, going back to yesterday's talk about that need to only be conditioned for survival, not thriving. So 30 years of that has just led to this moment. So the goat's like, just put down the mountain, dude. Like, just be done with it. Climb, ascend, do your thing. Enjoy the journey of the climb. Will it be challenging? Yeah, you're going to hit some rocky points, and you might slip a little on the Might not be as sure-footed as you want, but at the same time, climb. But don't carry the mountain. You're not designed, nor were we ever designed to just carry the mountain. We just climb it. And so then I went and did a painting last night, which you guys have either seen the picture of, or I'll post the picture here in the video for you to take a look at. So as soon as I said, okay, we'll drop the mountain, that's the painting that came out. And it's really pretty. I'm very attached to it. It feels very peaceful and freeing. And then this morning, I started hearing from the goat again. And the goat's like, hey, but you missed this other message about us. And what I was really getting out of that is that the whole we climb the mountains, we don't carry them, was the goat saying, we just do us. We're fully present. We're fully ourselves. This is what goats do. Goats just climb. We don't carry stuff. Like, it's not our job. We just do us. And I think, oh, okay. The other part of this whole series is about fully, and the whole break is fully stepping into myself. You know, we have to, this is interesting. So about the fully ourself thing, like I really, it's a struggle. And I realized I was very aware this morning where I have a deep-rooted belief that's still, like, there's a program still in me. And I want to share that with you. And hopefully it'll enlighten you a little bit more about my background. So I have come to accept who I am, and I'm coming to love who I am. And I love so much about my awesomeness, my weirdness, my quirks, my language, foul as it is. Like, I love all of it. I embrace all of it. I love the way I think. It's hard at times because it's very difficult to find people to connect with, because very, very, very few people actually understand me when I'm talking. Even the people that are the closest to me will say, I love you, but I don't understand anything coming out of your mouth. Like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And it's still a struggle it's very lonely at times, because to be able to just fully not have to filter, to fully just talk in the language that is unique to you and have other people relate to it and understand it, it's effing lonely road. That's what it is. And so I have come to where I love all of it, but I'm hiding it. I'm hiding a lot of it, and I'm still filtering a lot of it. And there's been reasons. There's reasons to my safety. There's reasons to my personal safety, living environment, support system. And honestly, when you've been lonely for so long and learning how to adapt and doing your healing and working on your trauma and making these changes, like, you have to have a support system. You have to have somebody, some small group of people around you that love you and care for you. And you know that coming out fully as yourself and expressing that is going to impact the support system that you currently have, the safety net that you currently have. And it's, I don't want to get too deep in that, but here's the root that I discovered today. Being fully myself, as an energy channel, as a healer, somebody that can sense and see beyond, as being an empath, and being in a dimensional space, a frequency space that allows me to see a higher divine perspective when I view everything, is really scary to certain communities of people. And these are the communities of people that currently make up my support system and that love me. And I realized that my program that I need to remove is based on growing up the way I did. I'm a preacher's daughter. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, multiple branches of our family tree are in ministry roles, one of my own children included. And so in some sort of that mechanism, the belief system there, the way we grew up is, I grew up in a fishbowl. Okay, many preachers' kids will tell you part of our trauma comes from living in an intense pressure cooker and growing up in a fishbowl. So we were judged from the day we were born. Okay. So living in that type of a pressure cooker of being judged for everything, what you wore, how you behaved, what you said, if you had a temper tantrum as a kid, I mean, it didn't matter. You were judged on everything because this expectation is that you have to meet a certain criteria because of who your father is and who your mother is, and you're judged on that and everybody else's belief systems. And so, God, that's probably a whole nother episode, to be honest. But the program that I wanted to point out was anything that I did reflected on my parents, reflected on my dad, and was integral to his work and his maintaining his job, which therefore fed us and kept a roof over our heads. So hiding who you were in order to make other people comfortable, which by the way, I knew about the being programmed and conditioned to make other people comfortable. I've been aware of that for more than a decade, but this particular program and root there's a root in there about I can't fully be present, be myself, and express all of the things because it impacts my family, what people believe about my family, and impacts safety in terms of, it's a root issue. It goes back to safety, stability, security, financial stuff. Like it's tied into that root chakra. And so that was just a really interesting thing that the goat brought it back out today. So as we bring that back around away from Jen, is what are you doing? What mountains are you carrying that you need to set down, because it's not your job to carry the mountain, it's your job to climb it? And do you have any programming that needs to come out that's preventing you from fully being yourself and expressing that? Through this process, people are going to start to learn more about me. And that's the point. I can't fully heal and fully be myself if I'm not expressing myself fully. It doesn't mean I don't filter when I go into certain situations, because there's a way that we can operate fully as ourselves, but still being compassionate. It's called reading a room. You can read a room and know even the language that you use. And when I say language, I just prefer colorful words, and not everybody is comfortable with colorful words. And you can read a room and know when it's appropriate to, be dropping F-bombs and when it's not. And so I think there's there are filters that we can apply that we do out of compassion to hold space for other people that are very different from us. But doing that doesn't mean that I can't fully be who I am and express myself. And I think that's just, that was the message from the goat. Sorry, this was right about twice as long as I was intending it to be, but so thanks for sticking around. But I just felt like it was really powerful to get out for this morning. I'll try to do my not freshly awake the next time. But yeah, so I'm moving into my day now with preparing for some new Reiki training and attunement, and I'm really, really excited for it. It will really complete. I've been on a significant string of specific energy attunement, and so I'm really looking forward to this is kind of the bookend piece, and so I got that looking ahead for today. And I am going to start to also keep track of some small videos or pictures of what I'm doing kind of behind the scenes. So you can see that sometimes it means I'm laying on the couch for 4 hours Netflixing. but I'm gonna have a separate reel of pictures and things that I'm gonna pull together. So you'll see that kind of pop up outside of episodes when it's ready. But yeah, just make sure you subscribe so you can keep following along the the discoveries of what I'm finding in moving forward and creating my reality.